It's 3:35 a.m. I just watched Spider-Man Far From Home and I feel sick.
This video is brought to you by Skillshare. Just kidding. This video contains spoilers for Spider-Man Far From Home and Avengers Endgame. How's it going, Jack Tackers, and welcome back to another video for you guys. Today, I'm going to be talking about the good and evil of Spider-Man's mentors in the MCU, and going over the complex and superlative symmetry the mentor scenes harness. Let's go over the first scene. In Spider-Man Homecoming, we have Iron Man Tony Stark as Spider-Man's mentor. He's the good mentor. Tony wants what is best for Peter and makes sure nothing bad happens to him. If Peter were to die, Tony would feel the blame of that circumstance. Now, in this scene, when Iron Man tells Peter to not go after the bad guys anymore, it's clear that Tony is trying to be somewhat of a parent figure, not a mentor. But to Peter, Tony has always been his mentor no matter what. Peter has seen what Tony has done in the past and relates it to him being Spider-Man. Tony here just wants Peter to stay safe, and Peter wants to be like him, going after the big-time villains like the Vulture. At the end of the day, no matter what Tony says to Peter, Peter isn't going to fully listen or let alone understand. Peter is a hero at heart. Spider-Man is a hero. Spider-Man always does the right thing even when it's dangerous or someone thinks otherwise about his plans. So many people in Peter's life have beaten him down, picked on him, yet he still gets back up and never gives up. It's cliche, but it's true. That's who Spider-Man is, and this scene shows that. Tony tries to protect Peter, but it'll never completely work, because later in the film, we even see this play out. Peter stands his ground and stops the Vulture anyway, without Tony's Spider-Man suit. Peter shows that he is capable without Tony's help, yet he wouldn't be capable without Tony's spirit. Tony has motivated Peter all his life to do the right thing, and Peter can do it on his own terms. Peter doesn't exactly need fancy suits or technological advances. As long as he keeps the original idea of what it means to be Spider-Man intact, that's all that ever matters. Tony has left a lasting impact on Peter by the idea of being a true hero. There's no facade, it's real. However, in Spider-Man Far From Home, Mysterio is the evil side to this. He is the polar opposite of what a hero means. Matter of fact, he's disrespectful to true heroes like Spider-Man and Iron Man. Now, in this particular scene that occurs in Far From Home, Mysterio was originally perceived as the good guy, someone who is trying to be a hero and do good in the world by helping Nick Fury out. Mysterio even confronts Peter after Fury snaps at him. Obviously, Peter is having some trouble balancing his regular life with his superhero life and ultimately doesn't really know what to do. However, Mysterio assures Peter that he needs to be Spider-Man. He tells him that he knows what's at stake and needs to be done. Mysterio knows what Peter is capable of and ultimately admits this to him. Eventually, we do find out Mysterio has been lying and faking being a hero. He was creating illusions to trick people into thinking he was actually doing good. After Tony Stark's death, Mysterio feels obligated to almost take over his position as Iron Man, only he's causing more harm than good and is honestly just wanting attention for himself. Tony had basically stolen Mysterio's tech and used it for his own gain. Mysterio doesn't stand for that anymore and decides to show off his tech by making himself seem good. Now, in terms of how these two scenes share symmetry, well, I'd say it's pretty simple when you look at it. It's a balance of good and evil. This balance is what causes the symmetry. Not only does this balance cause symmetry, but more importantly, it impacts Peter on a massive scale. Peter has been impacted by good, that being Tony. He had warned Peter not to be Spider-Man or he could get hurt. Mysterio impacted Peter in a somewhat negative aspect since Mysterio almost wanted Peter to screw up being Spider-Man since Mysterio really just wanted to be the only true hero. This balance of good and evil, wrong and right, also allows Peter to not see the world in black and white. He can now see the world from different angles and understand people who he could be up against. I believe in Spider-Man 3, when whatever that will be called, Peter will learn from these mentor-like figures and will ultimately become Spider-Man. He will not be Iron Man, a paranoid, scared, alone, yet good person. He will also not be Mysterio, a lying, cheating, and evil person. Peter can finally become something he was created into, Spider-Man. You see, I believe people have been looking at these past two films wrong. While we never have seen MCU Uncle Ben, or saw Peter get bit by a radioactive spider, These two films are still origin stories. Spider-Man 3 will most likely be the end of this specific trilogy. This movie will wrap up everything we've learned from the character of Peter Parker and make him become something he was shaped into. The balance of good and evil from mentors shaped Peter into Spider-Man.